Terrible things are happening in South Africa. The leadership is doing some terrible things, horrible things. So that's under investigation right now. We'll make a determination. And until such time as we find out what South Africa is doing, they're taking away land, they're confiscating land, and actually they're doing things that are perhaps far worse than that.
Okay, so right there is Donald J. Trump, aka the master of sanctions and the president of the United States of America. Of course, I thought you knew that. And again, he's threatening with sanctions. In this matter here, he's addressing the nation of South Africa. And maybe the question is, what has he got to do with South Africa, which is miles and miles away from the United States of America? So welcome to this video. Let's talk about what's happening here. I hope you're doing good. And in case you're also coming across this channel for the first time, I'm definitely welcoming you. Please hit that subscription button to be part of us. So what is going on here is, so lately, not so lately, there is this expropriation bill, land expropriation bill in South Africa that seeks, I'm trying to put it as simple as possible for you and remove the political jargon that is usually there. So the land expropriation bill of 2024 is trying to, serve justice and equity to the people of South Africa by attempting to give back deservedly to the people of South Africa, the natives of South Africa, the black people and the black community of South Africa, giving them back their land. In whose hands is the land right now? The land is in the hands of white people, those that want to call themselves white South Africans. How did they get the land? So this is a long story. And now, far miles away, Donald Trump, who has never gone to South Africa, has never been to South Africa, is not South African, is rattled. Why? Because it is a matter that concerns white people. And he is a white person. And I don't know how many times I must preach in this channel and in other channels, and I try to tell black people that this is how people are living. If you touch one of them, you have touched all of them. And that is how we should also live. That is the policy. If you touch one of us, I am not South African myself, but that issue that concerns the people of South Africa in one way or the other is also an issue that concerns me as a black person, regardless of whether I live and stay in South Africa or not. It is my issue. I am African, and Africa is our business. The same way Donald Trump is out there to speak for his white comrades, his white people, out of shallow information, because I believe it's shallow information, because attempting to acquire justice and you're trying to block that with your sanctions is downright crazy. So I want you to also listen, or I want us to also listen to this brave boy, brave son of the soil, Julius Malema, on what he has to say on the same. So let's listen in first.
Donald Trump is not saying anything we have not heard from white people in all the hearings. I even commented and said, I'm still to meet a white person who supports expropriation of land without compensation. So why are you shocked? I see leaders of the EFF and everybody responding to Donald Trump. I don't have time for nonsense. I expected this. And more backlash is going to come. If South Africans are not ready to expropriate the land because they are scared of sanctions, they are scared of backlash, then don't vote for the EFF. Because you vote for us, we are going to expropriate land. and Donald Trump will come for us, and Britain will come for us, and the EU will come for us.
So that is Julius Malema. And my plea sometimes to South Africa as a Kenyan is please, please give us Malema just for some time. We really need such brave people in this continent of Africa. So he's directly responding to Donald Trump, and he's saying that, I mean, we're not afraid of your sanctions and your threats because we have to do what we have to do. This is our land and these are our people. The people in question, the victims of this whole scenario are my people, and I have to serve my people. You can keep your United States of America that you already stole from other people, because, of course, he does. White people, in as much as they show this such an entitlement, just baffles you, because even in the land that he is talking from, it's not his original land as a white person. He stole that. Now he's trying to steal. I mean, not trying. He is doing that. He is stealing the land. So let's listen more to Julius.
The EFF has noted the threat by the President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, who has issued a threat to cut foreign aid to South Africa and impose sanctions on South Africa for adopting legislation that permits the expropriation of land without compensation and implementing policies that addresses historical race-based inequalities in our country. The statement by Donald Trump is offensive and undermines our sovereignty, and is a reminder that our reliance on foreign aid and foreign direct investment surrenders us to the will of imperialists who use money to dictate the economic and policy direction of Africa. We want to make it categorically clear to the President of the USA that we are going to expropriate land without compensation and pursue legislative measures to do so, and no threat will stop us. His misinterpretation of the Expropriation Act, which is a mild and cosmetic intervention, is an assessment of a measure that is going to be pursued through the amendment of our Constitution as South Africans, and there is nothing he can do to undermine our independence.
Okay, that is it once again. So South Africa is a sovereign state that is entitled to make its own rules without interference of people like Donald Trump and other millionaires who think they own South Africa or Africa by any chance. And there's no time for fear. There's no need for fear. We need to face off these patronizing imperialists and tell them off our land sometimes. Just clearly be brave and show them the way. Let me tell you a little bit about land in South Africa, a country of 60 million people. So the issue of land injustice in South Africa dates back over 100 years ago, in the early 1900s, when white settlers confiscated, stole, and grabbed land from the natives of South Africa, the black people, and put the natives in those reserve or concentration camps, and kept all the land to themselves. And so black natives of South Africa were put in concentration camps, and all their land was taken by white settlers. Today, I say, in a country of over 60 million people, the white minority in South Africa do not even make up to 10% of that population. But ironically, they own over 70%. I mean, a whole 70% of privately owned agricultural land in South Africa. Just a paltry 7 to 8% of the population owns 70 to 80% of land. And so what Malema and the EFF, the ANC are attempting is to reverse those injustices by giving back land to South Africa, honestly. But now you see it is rattling far and wide. So let's listen in a little more.
This thing of the land is very simple, comrades. You just go into a village and look at how many families are there sharing 5 to 10 hectares called their settlement. 10 hectares. And then you go next to them. You find one Afrikaner family owning 1,000 to 2,000 hectares alone. And the village is constituted by more than 2,000 families. They are sharing 10 hectares. One family of an Afrikaner owns 2,000 hectares. And they only use 200 hectares of the 2,000 hectares they are owning. And then don't touch it. Don't do anything about it. Let these villagers continue to share the 10,000 hectares when one person owns 2,000 hectares. So it can be an acceptable practice. But what I find actually more problematic is that when we speak about racism in this country, people say all manner of things. But I'm still to see a white person who supports expropriation of land without compensation. I just need one. So this thing that actually the division is a class division in South Africa is not true. Because even the poorest white person who doesn't have a land, who has got nothing, you pick up that person at the robots and say, what is your view about land expropriation? That no, leave the land alone. The poorest white person. So in South Africa, we are still to deal with class divisions. At the core of our divisions is racism. That even the white hobo can't imagine black people owning a land, and it will collapse the economy. Because the way you are so dirty, everything you touch, you dirty it. That's what they say about us. That will collapse the economy. That everyone else will go. That was Zimbabwe. But that which we are doing now, I'm still to see a person who's going to show us that this was done in Zimbabwe. That we're doing here. Yeah. It has never been done in Zimbabwe. The consultations brought involvement of everybody and allowing those who own the land to come to our meetings and insult you. It has never happened in Zimbabwe. And then that should give you comfort that our process is completely different from the Zimbabwean process. It's a completely different process. Stop sensationalizing, stop being alarmist, allow democracy to play its own role. So, with regard to the land, I think that is what we want to say. There is no food security which is going to be disrupted here. Not at all. Who are we to go into a farm that is producing food for us and say, no, you must cease operations, and then we are taking over? The ordinary people actually told us on the ground that these whites, when you buy land from them, you give them millions. They put stones in the borehole. They damage them. That's why when you come back and say, we've given you the land, you don't do anything with the land, they say, we didn't find anything functioning here. Before you paid them, everything was functioning here. After you paid them and we took over, everything collapsed. They poisoned the land. They take our millions and still poison the land. They take our millions and break the boreholes. So why would we want to engage in a risky process like that? All we're saying is that we want the land to be democratized. The ownership of the land in South Africa must be reflective of the demographics in South Africa. In Tubatsi, there in Skukuni, when you go to that area where there is chrome, where they said people were doing illegal chrome, before the state and big capital attacked them. Just go and see what those people did with illegal chrome. In Skukul, in a village, people were taking chrome because that chrome is just here. They just use a TLB. They don't use any sophisticated method to take out the chrome and sell it to whoever wants to buy it. Go and see what those people have done with that money they were getting from that chrome. You don't need a research. Just go and stand outside there. Those people have built houses, big houses for themselves out of that money of the chrome. They've changed their rural life out of that money of the chrome. Now they stopped them. When the EFF tried to intervene, that thing is owned by Samanco. Then Samanco says, no, this is our land. We've got the permit. So I asked them, what are you doing with this land? Because there's no activity here. People found an empty land. They are using it to feed themselves. They say, no, we're going to start mining here after 30 years. So I'm saying to them, but people are not going to eat after 30 years. People want to eat now. Why is Samanco and the people not coming together? Since Samanco realized these people are using this land to feed themselves, and the department coming together to try and find a workable solution which will continue to feed the people in that part of the land without any go-between. Directly the people must be helped to continue mining the chrome and don't damage the land. They will damage the land if we don't help them. They will damage the environment if we don't help them that, no, this is how you go about it. But they've demonstrated that that land can benefit them now, and they've benefited out of it. So what do we say about those people who have demonstrated that this land can feed us? What do we say about the people who are saying we've got the tools to work the land to produce food for ourselves? A white man owns a huge farm, doesn't have sufficient cattle to graze on that land. Here are the poor communities. They've got cattle. When they are found in the farm of a white person who doesn't have cattle, who doesn't use that land for anything, they are either killed or they are arrested. You have to go and bail the cattle. The land is not being used for anything. This is a community with cattle. One family has got 4, the other one has got 5. And you know what they do? They use those cattle to pay for the fees of their children. Every January, all those who live in rural areas know that big trucks go into those villages to go and buy because it's a selling season. Why are they selling in January? They must take the kids to school.
Oh, well, so what we're trying to say here is land in South Africa and entirely in the entire of Africa, because this is a scenario that only might be so clear in South Africa, but it's even happening in other parts of Africa. Land ownership should and must reflect or be reflexive of the demographics of the land. I mean, there is no way a minority that just came the other day now own 70% of agricultural land that they found the natives right there. You can't lie to me that, you know, that was so rich and they bought all the land from everybody. You can't come to my house and push me to the farthest corner of the house and tell me there is where you stay. And the house is mine, originally and currently mine. Land should, can, and must actually be expropriated. I mean, for the benefit of the larger majority of people. There is no way one family owns thousands and thousands of acres, which is lying idle. They're just hoarding the land at the, at the expense, at the cost of all those other people who could even use the land for more productive ways. And something else that I need to tell you, black people, and I have to keep on preaching, is that this is a fight for all of you. And this is a clear indication that when you touch one white person, all of them are up in arms against you. So it is time for you to also realize that that is the game that is being played, and use those tactics. When they touch one of us, let's be up in arms to be together. I mean, when we are together, then we can stand against the bullies. We can stand against the billionaires of this world. We can stand against the sanctions. I mean, touching one of us is touching all of us. So our unity of purpose is the only proper defense that we can mount for ourselves. Let's come together as Black people. I mean, let's aim for our unity, a unity of purpose. You know, sometimes I get surprised when I meet in the comments. Sometimes I get Black people telling me off in my videos, or telling other people off in their videos. Stop talking about South Africa. You're not even South African. Stop talking about you talk about African matters because we are Caribbeans, we are Jamaicans. I just look at those and I'm like, with this division, none of us is going to make it out. So that is what I had for you in this video. Please share, like, subscribe to this channel, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.